Welcome to Mysteries, Myths, and Legends. I'm Taylor.
I'm Savannah.
And happy October.
Happy October.
AKA
my
happy
birthday.
Halloween.
Okay, also my birthday month.
Okay, more importantly, Savannah's birthday month.
Listen, if we got to say that August was your birthday month, then like October, we're celebrating me.
I agree. Happy birthday, Savannah.
It's also perfect because obviously this podcast, spooky season, we're getting into it. So the best month of the entire year.
Okay. I would argue August is the best and then October, but whatever.
All right, fine, whatever.
But it is your month. It is. Let me not claim it Halloween. It is Savannah's month first, and then it's Halloween.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Happy very, very early birthday. Considering, as we sit here right now, we're still in September, so.
Yeah. I know, and my birthday isn't until the end of October.
Yeah, literally. But it's okay. You get the whole month. That's the rule.
I do, yeah.
So this is really important.
Yeah.
This is breaking news, guys.
Okay.
Not by the time you hear this, but in our situation right now, me and Savannah are in the middle of Hurricane Helene.
Oh, yes, we are.
Right now, breaking.
See, I'm over here like, what
you hear the
news
winds?
are you about to break? Yeah.
Boom, boom. That's the storm you're hearing.
I think, okay, we saw the projections of where she's gonna go, and it looks like we're sort of on the outskirts of it.
Yeah.
But also, like, we're not gonna jinx ourselves.
No, I heard that we're getting 4 to 8 inches of rain.
Oh, God.
That's really bad.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Flood.
Yeah.
So, we're going to just stay safe.
Mm-hmm,
And that's all we can do. But
yeah.
I just hope she doesn't do a lot of damage. Because right now, we don't really know, how much damage she did. So, but yeah, that is happening as we speak right now. Just be aware of that. So if anything happens, or you hear any thunder or anything, that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's just Helene.
Yeah.
Having her little moment outside.
Yep.
But anyway, we have a little bit of a different episode for you this week, guys.
It's going to be probably one of our favorite episodes, to be honest.
It's not like any we've ever had before.
I mean, it's kind of still similar.
I mean,
in a way.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. But this time, we're basically just going to tell you about the last 5 days of our life.
Yeah, it's been really wild. We did a lot of things. We went to some haunted places.
We did.
So it'll be interesting. Definitely stick around. Like, if you're not into that sort of thing, you wanted to hear stories. I mean,
there
this is still stories.
There is stories.
There are haunted things, and we were in the middle of it.
Yeah, and haunted things happen to us. So stick around in here because we will be telling you what it is. But before we get to the haunted stuff, we do have to talk about the fun stuff.
Yeah.
So our reasoning for going to West Virginia was for the Mothman Festival.
Yes.
And it was so fun.
Mothman 2024.
It was great. What was your favorite part?
I really liked when we got face paint.
Oh yeah. We got little Mothman.
Yes, we got face paint Mothman on. Yeah.
That was great.
We're definitely going to post pics of those. Yeah, that was definitely a really good part. We also just sitting by the river. Sitting by the river and listening to the music. Like, it's such a good vibe.
They have live music.
Yes.
They have like an amphitheater out there and live music during the festival. So you can just sit and eat your little snacks that you can buy. And it's just by the Ohio River.
We were just sitting there eating ice cream, listening to the music. It was such a vibe.
It was an absolute vibe.
Yeah.
It really was. And it was like sunset, so it was beautiful.
It was perfect.
It was.
And also, I really loved seeing, like, there were so many people just in costumes, like, in really, really awesome cosplays.
I have to give a round of applause for everybody who attended that festival. Literally every single person was dressed up.
Yeah. In
some way, some form or another.
Yeah. We dressed up a little bit too, but some people were all out.
All out. And I wanted to be. I have a whole Mothman costume, but guys, it was like 94 degrees. And my costume is blanket material.
Yeah.
So I had to take it off. But, the costume was with me the whole time. But the dedication that some of these people showed by wearing these full, hairy, heavy, hot costumes all day, both days, is crazy.
Yeah.
And props to them, because that could not be me. But it was so fun to see that. My favorite part is and will always be the lemonade.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. The lemonade was definitely a great part of it.
It was so great.
They make it right in front of you. And it's just like...
It's so fresh.
It's so fresh, yeah.
Yeah. It was great. But I also really liked... so they also have speakers at Mothman Festival. Mm-hmm. And I really wanted to see this man who's speaking from the show Expedition Bigfoot. As we know, my obsession with Bigfoot, if you've heard the last couple episodes anyway, we got to hear like a presentation from the like lead man, Russell Accord, who is on Expedition Bigfoot. And it was so interesting hearing his take on Bigfoot, because honestly, it was something I had never really thought about before. Yeah. And he was kind of going in on like the 1967 Bigfoot video.
Yeah. He was like the original. All of the proof that he could think up. I mean, not that all that could think up. He like definitely has all of this proof just like stored in his back pocket.
Totally.
For a rainy day, and he like brought it all out, and he's telling us all this stuff. And I was like, you're making me think about this a lot differently now. Yeah,
because if I'm going to be on, everybody, if you haven't seen the video, just type in Bigfoot video. It's the first one that's going to come up.
Yeah.
It's this big, tall, hairy creature walking over this little creek bed of water. And personally, when I was little, I believed it was real. And then as I got older, I was like, maybe it's edited, or maybe it's a person in a suit.
Yeah.
But he kind of, for me at least, he at least debunked the fact that I do not think it was a person wearing a suit.
Yeah. He definitely just made me think about it a little more. I'm still not sure what I think.
I'm not sure 100%, but I am leaning a little bit more towards the middle than I was. Because I was like, this is definitely fake at first.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it was very interesting, and I love that. And we were sitting front row. Yeah. So that's amazing for us.
So there was another part of this festival that I think we need to mention.
Big time.
I think we had just gotten our lemonade for the first time. We were walking.
Honey, we were so excited.
We were walking through the festival, right? Taylor taps me on the shoulder. She says, "Is that who I think it is?" I'm like, "Wait, what?"
There's 100,000 people surrounding us. I'm like, "Is that who you think it is? Is that who I think it is?"
You were like, wait. Who is that? And
I literally stopped us physically and pulled us to the side, because I was like, I said, let's hit the brakes.
So guys, we think we saw, you want to say?
Yeah. Matthew Gray Gubler from
We think we saw him.
Criminal Minds. Spencer Reed, if you don't know. Now listen, I'm not going to say for 100% fact that it was him, because he was wearing boots, pants, long sleeves, a COVID mask, glasses, and a hat.
Yeah, see, he was very much trying to cover his face, and that's what really convinced us.
But it really looked like him.
It did.
And so, Matthew, if you're listening, I'm not trying to sound creepy. We didn't go up to him because we, first of all, didn't know if it was him.
We weren't 100% sure, and also, I don't want to be a creep.
No, I don't ever want to be that person who's like, hi. Like, I don't actually have anything to say to you. I'm actually in love with Matthew Gray Gubler, so I would probably just faint if I had to speak to him. But if you are hearing this, or if you went to Mothman Festival, can anybody tell me, like, was he there?
Yeah,
I need to know.
Please confirm that you saw him, too, because we really think we saw him.
I really do. And, because, guys, it was so hot. Like, I need to stress it. Like, I know anybody could look like him. He's just a tall white man with long hair. But, like...
But, he was the only one wearing a COVID mask.
COVID mask, or really pants. I did not see many pants or long sleeves. Guys, it was really hot. I cannot stress. It was, like, over 90 degrees.
Yeah.
Like, So, if that was not Matthew, that man was just maybe cold-blooded or warm-blooded, whatever.
A good look-alike.
Anemic. Yeah.
So, yeah, how to throw that out there.
So, we do have another story for you, because that day was so fun. It was so filled with many fun events.
It was.
all day long. We did, I won't lie, it's a little overstimulating when it's like nearly 100 degrees and there's, I don't know how many people, but I'm going to guess thousands.
Yeah, no, there were a lot of people, and we, like, I don't know, heat stroke was definitely up there, like, we were about to...
Yeah, like, we had a fan. There were parts and times of the festival where there were so many people trying to walk down the road that everybody was just standing still. Like, it was people traffic instead of car traffic, so that, like, it was just a little overstimulating, but other than that, it was a great time. But we decided to go up a day early instead of drive up the day of this time because we learned that's better because you want to get to Mothman early so you can get a good parking spot.
Yes.
Or else you're going to walk 10 miles to get to your car.
Yeah.
So we decided to go up the night before, and we had booked our hotel months and months and months in advance. Right, because they always sell out.
Yeah, and I picked one that had good reviews. It had
like the best of the best,
4.5 star rating out of 5. I was like, that's pretty good. And there were a few others nearby, but they didn't have as good ratings. So I was like, okay, this one. And then we got there. So we got to the hotel and checked in, and like, we went into the room, and I noticed on the wall, I didn't even want to, I just said, Taylor, look at this.
Okay, so every time I walk into a hotel, the first thing I do is I go in and I put my, like, purse down, and then I, like, immediately take off the sheets of the bed. So that's what I was doing. I'd walked in, put my purse down, and was taking the sheets off to make sure there weren't bed bugs, because, guys, that's important. Always do that. And guess what? There weren't bed bugs. But then Savannah was like, Taylor. And I was like, what? And she was like, there's a roach.
Yeah, it was bad.
And I was like, you're kidding me.
And then we were like, okay, well, maybe it was just that one. And then we saw another. And we're like, we're getting out of here.
So, yeah, I smashed the first one with a paper towel, guys. Not with my hand. I'm not a cave woman.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay. We were trying to see if there were more roaches. And I was like, let's open the fridge. And when I opened the fridge, out some came.
Yes.
So then we ran as absolutely fast as we could possibly.
Yeah.
Get out of that room.
Also, please be reminded that this is now, it is like 8:30 p.m. and we had only eaten
a bagel
at 10 a.m.
Yeah. And we'll get into what we did in between the hours of 10 a.m. and 8:30 p.m. here in a little bit.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like we were just chilling. We did a lot. So no food in our system, exhausted from the day,
and
roaches.
Has roaches, yeah. So we had to find another hotel, and honestly, I was just about to start crying, but my hero Taylor came to the rescue and found us another hotel.
The thing is, I'm a good problem solver. And luckily enough for me, there was a Holiday Inn. I'm a shout out Holiday Inn Express because they are the best, honey. That girl, I wish I remembered her name because I would shout her out too. But she was the nicest lady. And the funniest thing is that I told her the situation because I was like, it's so late. Like, I'm so sorry to have to come and ask for a room right now. And I told her the situation, and she was like, oh, was it the bleep? Insert hotel name. And I was like, oh, great. So that's a common problem. That's crazy. Yeah. That's really crazy. So, yeah. And then we got to go up to our nice, lovely room with no bugs, no roaches, comfortable beds.
It was very nice.
It was very amazing. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It was really great. Yeah. And then,
what a great start to the weekend.
Truly. Also, I did forget to mention, after we left the Mothman Festival on day 1, because Mothman Festival is 2 days, if you did not know. It's Saturday and Sunday. And so on Saturday, when we were leaving to go back to our hotel, we were leaving the festival. We pull onto the highway right off the bridge where Mothman was. And I look to my left, and what do I see but the most vibrant rainbow ever.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's so magical. And to me, I was like, look, Mothman knows we all love him so much. Yeah. He's giving us a rainbow. He did. I love it. It was so cute. Mm-hmm. Adorbs. And then the next day, it was a lot more chill. Very chill vibes. there was far less people, which made it
Yes.
so much more enjoyable.
Yeah. Yeah. Day
Truly.
2 was definitely better.
Yeah.
but
Everybody,
it was
don't
really
listen to that though. Like, don't make day 2 as bad as day 1. Please.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me keep my day 2. Peace. But I also did in fact touch Mothman's shiny hiney.
Oh, of
Had
course.
to,
Yeah,
obviously.
we had to.
I have a video. Yeah. We'll
And
post it.
okay, so after we did Mothman Festival, day 2, we went and saw the TNT area that he was spotted.
Yes, which I cannot lie, guys. It was probably the hardest thing I've ever had to find.
Yeah, for some reason, like we tried to look it up on Google Maps or on Apple Maps. I don't know, on our map.
It was Apple Maps.
And we got to the place. We pull into somebody's driveway.
It's a
I'm
house,
like,
guys.
"What?" So then we're like, oh crap, like we need to look this up and see where we're supposed to actually go, because we're definitely not supposed to be at somebody's house.
Yeah, so if this is a public service announcement, if you're trying to go to the TNT area where Mothman was sighted, don't type that into the Apple map and go there. Because I don't know those people, and they didn't bother us, but we got out of there as fast as we could.
Okay, so then we realized, okay, it's at the nature preserve. That's really close to where we were. So we're like, okay, nature preserve. So we find it. We end up over there, and then we park and we're walking around trying to find it.
Yeah,
like trying to follow other people.
There's people there. Everybody's so sparsely
Yes.
spread out, and nobody is parked in the same spot.
Yeah. So we just were so confused, but we did find it. We eventually found it. And you know, it was really cool actually.
It is really crazy. And being there makes me understand like how that all happened back in the day.
Yeah.
Because so the TNT area is where Mothman was first sighted. If you do not recall from my episode when I covered Mothman. So basically it like Savannah said, it's at a nature preserve, and even when we went, like you can just go there, you know? Like there were no locks. I'm sure there's like dusk to dawn now, but back in the 70s, 60s, whenever it happened, it was known as like the Lover's Lane because it was just nothing out there.
Definitely see why.
Exactly.
Being there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so people would go out there, and that is.
So, okay. Remind me though, were they in that place or were they just in their car?
So it's called the TNT area because there are these giant hills. But what you don't know, from the outside it looks like a hill, but on the inside there's actually a door, and it's actually a dome. And my assumption is they used to test TNT in there and blow it up.
Or they would just store it, right? Or no?
One of the other, or maybe both. Who's to say?
Yeah,
I mean, they had to blow it up to create the dome for showskis. So, regardless, though, the domes are really scary. We went, oh my gosh, they were so scary.
You thought it was? I didn't think it was that scary.
It was just so dark.
You're right.
It was so, and I'm afraid of the dark, so yes, I was scared.
Me too.
And I was also in there way further than you were in there.
Yeah, no, you're right, because I was not scared at the door, but...
Yeah, and I was like in. And they, actually somebody spray painted a Mothman on the wall of that dome, so that was really cool. Very cool, but yeah, so the people, when it happened at Mothman, they had just driven, I don't know exactly where, but they had parked in front of one of the mines. Like, in the mine, not mines, the domes.
Yeah.
And that's when he came and like flew by their car.
I see.
And then they drove away, and then he chased them. So yeah, that's where he was originally. Maybe he was in the dome. Yeah. Maybe that's his home. Maybe I'm Dr. Seuss because I'm rhyming. Who knows?
He was in the dome. That's his home.
Yeah. So yeah, but we did see that, and that's crazy. Like being on the same land that Mothman allegedly really was.
Yeah.
Like, Savannah, I just need you to imagine that we went during the day. Imagine that at night, and there's a big human creature moth with red glowing eyes flying, chasing your car.
That's really scary.
And you can't even go fast down that road because it's gravel.
Yeah, that's true.
So they were probably going so slow, and it was just following them. Oh no, that's horrifying. I can see why they were scared now. Yeah, but it was also a beautiful place. It was just hot.
Yeah.
That was the moral of the story of the whole weekend. It was hot and muggy.
Yes,
But, yeah. But then what did we do after the TNT area, Savannah? You want to tell them?
We went to a casino.
Gambling.
Went to a casino. This was my first time really doing the whole casino thing.
Love that. It was not my first time. I do not have an addiction, but I could easily.
So we walk in, and the first one we went to, Taylor wins like $70 immediately.
I do.
And yeah, but I mean, you can say what happened to you eventually.
Guys, I was up. I won that 70. I got to one point, it was like $150. And I came in with 100 and I still had money in my pocket. So I was like, oh, I'm big winning. And then we were like, let's just go try out all these machines. That's the wrong rule. The rule is to find a good machine and just stay there because that's how you win. But Savannah had never had that experience of a casino. So I was like, let's just go around and play them all. And I lost all of my money except for 50 cents. And so I had a voucher that said $0.50. And I said, Savannah, you're going to have to turn mine in with yours because I'm too embarrassed to hand this to a woman and then for her to give me 2 quarters.
Yeah.
Because tell them how your night went, Savannah.
Yeah, so I ended up on top.
Ayo.
So I put in about like $50 or so, and I got 90.
Ayo.
I walked out with 90, so.
It's a plus. And you know what? If one person wins, we all win.
Exactly.
So,
but
how much, like, explain to them how time altering it was.
No, that's what I was going to say. We were in there for 3 hours. And to be honest, I could have kept going, even though it was like definitely past my bedtime. And I didn't even notice. Like, it was crazy.
No, seriously. It felt like we were in there for 30 minutes.
Yes. No, it's actually kind of scary. Like, I don't think I can go gambling again. Like, and we don't condone gambling.
And also, we went sober gambling.
Yes.
Imagine us drinking. We would have lost all of our money.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I would have.
Inhibited, honey, gone. I don't care about money when I'm inhibited.
Yeah.
I'm like, spin. So,
no, like, I totally.
Oh, we got to be careful in them places, honey. But we did make a funny TikTok. So go check out our TikToks to, see that.
But also, if you ever go to a casino, be careful.
Guys, all we're gonna say. Let me tell you what. If you go to a casino and you hit like $150 after only putting $20 in, go on ahead and cash it out.
Yeah, cash out.
You hit it big once, stop and cash it out.
That's the rule.
You might think that, oh, my winning streak is going to continue. It's never going to happen.
It's not going to.
Cash it out. So we will go back. Would you go back? Well, I'm going back.
I mean, maybe. We'll see.
Like, if we stayed there again, would you go back?
Yeah. I don't know. I just don't know. Well, like, how, like, next year?
I don't know. Whenever we go to Mothman again. It took us 3 years to get back to Mothman, so I don't know in the next 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Period. And next time we're both going to come out on top because I'm going to follow my rule. So I will cut that voiceover back to this one when I win next time.
Okay. All right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But... Okay, one last thing, and then we'll get into the story.
Okay.
The big main story. The main event. So, I have mentioned on here that me and Stacy got in a little accident where I hit that UFO. Mm-hmm. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's an unidentified flying object.
And also, do people know who Stacy is?
Oh, well, if you don't know who Stacy is my new car. I have said it like every single episode since I've bought her. So I have to assume people know.
People know.
Okay, but if you don't know, Stacy's my new car. And me and Stacy got into a little accident driving to Wilmington one night. It was late and I was in a construction zone and I ran over and flying unknown piece of scrap metal broke Stacy. So Stacy had to get fixed. And in the meantime, Enterprise gave me a rental car. And I'm calling them out, Enterprise.
We named the rental car Gilbert.
We named it Gilbert because it was the ugliest, most horrendous terrible. Like any negative, condescending word,
we're
that's
sorry
Gilbert.
for all the Gilberts out there.
I won't name what car it is. I will say it was a Kia.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to have Kia Soul.
Yeah.
And listen, I loved my Kia Soul, but this Kia, honey, no. Garbage, trash.
No, I think the main thing we hated about it was that you could tell somebody had smoked in it.
The way they stressed to me so hard when I got it, like, you cannot have pets and you cannot smoke. And at the time when I got the car, my nose was really congested, so I didn't notice it like the first second I drove it home. But then immediately the next time I was in it, it was just like I could drive a 5-minute drive and I would smell like I smoked a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah, yeah.
It was that potent. Yeah. And we had to drive a good 5-6 hours one way in that. So we had to ride on the highway with our windows down almost the whole time to breathe. And that was horrible. And also, they did not tell me that Gilbert was a hybrid car. And I have never in my life driven a hybrid car. So I didn't know if I had to charge it. I didn't know anything. They didn't tell me. They were just like, have it.
Yeah.
Which is so crazy that they would do that. But we did figure it out. I will say hybrid cars and mountains, they're not a good pairing. They don't really like to go up mountains.
Yeah.
But you know what? I will say Gilbert made it there and back and safe.
So, I mean,
in one piece. And now I have Stacy back and Gilbert is gone. So all is good in the world.
And all your miles are not on Stacy.
Period. I did save. That is a big number one. But I will say, as terrible as Gilbert was, I'm not hating on the hybrid cars because, honey, that gas price, filling the car for $16 is crazy. Yeah. So, you know, there's pros and cons. I'll say that. But anyway, Savannah, if you don't have anything else, we can get into the
let's get into
main
it.
event. Okay, well, so we did in fact do one other thing when we were in West Virginia.
Two other things.
Oh, 2 other things. True. You begin.
No, you start with yours, then we'll go into mine.
Okay, fine. So on the way up there, I just kind of had a thought 2 days before Mothman Festival. And I realized that on the way was a haunted place that we had covered on the podcast before. Mm-hmm. So right now for you, I'm going to retell you / part 2 of the Legend of Lake Shawnee amusement park.
Yay.
Da-da-da. Yay. We love Lake Shawnee. It is such a wild place. So I did already cover this in episode 17, which was so long ago. If you're listening, it is currently episode 178. So
yeah,
it's been a long time since I had covered that. And so... And
I looked listen to it on the way there.
Yes, we did. Because we had to, obviously get the information to know what we were getting ourselves into. And boy, did that scare us.
A little bit, yeah.
And I did look it up. That episode came out May 26, 2021.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Okay.
Because we were talking about some of our life events in that episode. And we were like, oh, my God, I forgot we even did that. It's great. Because we never go back and listen. But had to this time. And... yeah, so it was just crazy to hear how much has changed since then. But ever since I told that story all those years ago, I have wanted to go to this abandoned amusement park. And we had never had the chance up until this past weekend when this idea, it literally popped into my mind. I swear it wasn't even my brain.
You said it out of nowhere. You just texted me.
It came out of nowhere. Yeah, I don't know. It was just like, let me look it up. And it was literally on the way to Mothman. And they just so happened to have a tour at a perfect time that day that we could make it to. So I was like, well, this feels like the universe aligning for us to go. So we surely did. And little did we know what we were getting ourselves into when we signed up for that tour.
Honestly, true. Because it was a long tour.
Yeah.
But it was so informative. And I didn't even realize it was taking that long.
Absolutely.
If we're being honest.
No, it was like the casino.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
We were so entranced. We were like, oh my gosh.
Truly. No, truly. And So I bought the tickets online, right? They were $40 each. I was like, okay, that's normal. You know, me and Savannah, we do tours all the time. We tour haunted houses, all these other things. They're always around that price, and they're always around like 1, maybe 2 hours max, you know? Never longer than that. So that's what I just assumed. It didn't say online. So we were like, okay, we're just going to go with it. We show up, and this place is, I don't know what I was expecting for the middle of nowhere, West Virginia, but this place is at somebody's house, down a gravel road.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'm scared. I'm scared to pull in here. But luckily there were other people. So that made me a little less scared.
Yeah.
But anyway, before I get into our experiences, we'll kind of sprinkle them in here and there, but I'm going to retell the story a little so you guys can have an idea of what's going on the property that we were at. So the land that Lake Shawnee Amusement Park sits on is indigenous land, and it's located in Mercer County, West Virginia. The property is over 800 acres. And I don't know if I could have visualized that back then, but honey, we didn't even see half of it, and that place was huge.
It was huge, yeah.
Humongous. Yeah, it was just so big. So we're going to take it back all the way to the late 1700s when a man by the name of Mitchell Clay, him and his family came to settle on the property that would later become Lake Shawnee Amusement Park. He on the Shawnee tribe indigenous land. Okay, so Mitchell and his wife, they had 15 kids together. Yes, I said 15. Now I will admit, on the previous episode, I said they had 14 kids. So I do want to formally apologize to that last child that I left out. They did have 15 children instead of 14, which shoo-wee mama, honey. I don't 15 kids. That ain't for me. That is a handful. That's actually more than 2 handfuls. That's 3 handfuls. So, too many. But anyways, at the same time that Mitchell Clay and his family got to the land and decided to settle there, as I said, it was already the home to the Shawnee tribe. So as you can imagine, the Shawnee tribe didn't like the fact that these random people just came and started building a house there on their property. I mean, like, imagine you, Savannah. What if somebody just came and started building a house, like, behind your house?
Backyard?
Yeah.
No.
Like, no.
Please,
like, what? Well, that's what they did. So, anyway, one day, Mitchell, he was away from the house. He had, like, driven a couple miles down to go hunting for the family to get some meat. And a few members of the Shawnee tribe watched him leave, and then they came and shot Mitchell's youngest son, Bartley, to death. And as soon as the bullet was shot, his sister Tabitha heard the shot, so she came running to see what happened. And unfortunately, she ran right into them, and they unfortunately, tragically knifed her to death. There's just no easy way to say that. So, and to end the tragedy, they also captured and killed another one of Mitchell's sons, Ezekiel. But this time, they didn't just kill him on the spot like they did the other 2. They actually kidnapped him and then burned him alive at the stake. Not good. No. Not good at all. So this is the point in the story where I'm going to stop and tell you a little bit about the tour that we went on, because there was this brick memorial. We'll post pictures on our Instagram. You have to go see it. But this memorial was to Mitchell Clay, and it showed where his house once stood. So we stood literally where the house was, which is crazy. And the bricks actually were the bricks that he used to build the house too.
Oh, yeah.
Which was actually also crazy. And so to the left, so if you're standing looking at this memorial, right, to the left of the memorial is this other patch of grass, and you can see it's a clear walkway. And that is the exact spot, if you walk down the trail, where the gruesome murder took place.
Yeah.
So Chris our tour guide, aka the owner of Lake Shawnee Amusement Park, he did in fact give us permission to go over there and explore, but he warned us that he never goes over there, and he doesn't even mow that area of the property. He'll always like pay somebody, or a volunteer will have to come out and mow that specific part of the land so that he doesn't have to himself. And so he wouldn't say what happened to him out there that made him feel that way, but I have to imagine it was something bad. And I will say we did not take the opportunity to go.
We looked at each other. We were like, we cannot.
No. I will say maybe next time. That's all I'm going to say on that. That's all I'm going to say on that. I'll reconsider next time. But back to the story. So, unless you had something you wanted to add. That was, it was just a memorial. Nothing more. In the creepy trail. But we did not go down the creepy trail. And I didn't see anybody else go down the creepy trail either. So it made me feel better about our choices when I saw that. But anyway, so as the shots are being fired originally, Miss Clay obviously hears them. And she's not even questioning that it's like could be her children. She just grabs all of her kids that are inside the house and runs to the neighbor's house. Now, obviously, she has 15 children, so if she has 12 of them, 12 probably look like 15 to her, you know? Like, when she was like, okay, come on, kids,
like,
let's head out. She wasn't like, head count. She was like, no, there's gunshots, let's run. But guess how far the neighbor's house was?
Oh, I don't even know.
6
far, right?
miles. Oh. Yes, I said 6 miles. Her and her 12 kids ran 6 miles to get to safety. Like, that is so crazy. 6 miles?
Damn.
With children?
Okay, what's the plan? Like, what are you going to do when you get there?
Well, it was and they knew their neighbor.
Yeah.
So she was like, maybe they won't chase us and kill us too. So her and the 12 kids are at the neighbor's house, and she's like, I'm staying here for the night. Don't care. Not going back there. Not my business. So when Mitchell returned from his hunting trip, first of all, his entire family is not inside the house. So he's okay, what's going on? Where are they at? And then he, takes a walk around the property because he's like, well, maybe they're outside somewhere. And he finds the children, his children. And when he found the children, he just automatically assumed that the Shawnee tribe had kidnapped the rest of his family. And just killed those 3. So he didn't actually know that most of his family was still alive and safe at the time. So out of obvious rage, he organized this big group of other white settlers to seek vengeance for his family, and Mitchell and the rest of the group ended up murdering several members of the Shawnee tribe. So this is just an absolute massacre on this land, to begin with. And that ain't even it. Not even close. So that's one reason why people think that this land is cursed, because the Clay family came in, took over when it wasn't their place to take over, and then a bunch of murder happened, and then allegedly some like to say that maybe they cursed the land. But I don't know, because going there made me believe that the land maybe is not cursed.
Yeah,
but honestly, that is the legend around it. People like to make legends scary.
Yeah. So because going there, it did not feel like that at all.
It did not. It did not feel scary.
It felt peaceful.
It did. It did. So moving along through time, we're going to fast forward to the 1920s, where a businessman named Conley Snidow purchased the Clay farm and decided to turn it into an amusement park. Okay. Which I just want to know how he got that original idea, honestly.
He's like, I just need to make an amusement park.
He's like, I want something fun. I want something fun to do.
There isn't much to do around that area, right? So they're like, okay, well, we need an amusement park in here.
Yeah, but I just want
some fun.
I would imagine like maybe movie theater, maybe mall, before amusement park.
I guess.
But no, I love it. I love how outrageous the idea is. But so he built this big swing set, and then he bought another like swing ride. He bought a Ferris wheel. They opened up the pond for swimming. They had a racetrack, a dance hall, cabins to stay the night. This whole park, it was honestly where it was popping. It was the place to be. And once it was open, hundreds upon thousands of people came to just party here. Because, I mean, you have to think, like, this is, like, a place really close to all the mining towns where there was absolutely nothing to do. So suddenly there's this huge amusement park that has anything you could really possibly want to do. So obviously everybody's going to go there. So the business was booming, for sure. Up until some really bad things started happening at the park. One day, there was this little girl, and she was wearing a pink ruffled dress, and she got on the swing ride. Not the swing set, but the ride, the one that, like, spins around and goes up and down.
Yeah.
And so she gets on, the swing starts going, and unfortunately, a Pepsi semi-truck was pulling in to make a delivery. And the driver thought that he had enough room to clear the swing, but he misjudged it and collided with the swing and unfortunately killed that little girl that was on the swing.
You know, at this point I've heard that part of the story so many times, but I'm just so surprised that they didn't kill anybody else.
Yeah. Same. I think people were injured, but they weren't killed.
Yeah.
Also the fact that we got to see the picture of the Pepsi truck.
Yeah, that's wild.
That was crazy. If you go on the tour, we're totally recommending, like, go on this tour.
Yeah, definitely. If you're thinking about going,
go.
Definitely.
Go. There was tons of stuff on this tour that we can tell you about, but we can't show you because obviously they need people to go there to keep this place open. So we couldn't take pictures of any of their evidence, but we could hear about it and we could see it for our own eyes. So I would recommend going. And seeing that Pepsi truck, it made me so sick because I was like, wow, that is just so sad. So yeah, I'll get back to our personal experiences with the swing in just a moment, but I'll just a little bit more history first because it's important to have the context. So not only did that little girl die at the park, but that same year, 10 more deaths reportedly happened in just one singular year at that park. And so due to the clear safety hazards, they had no choice but to shut down Lake Shawnee Amusement Park. And some of the rides and things were obviously sold, but some did not sell, and they were left abandoned on the property. So the swings that the girl died on were sold, actually, but the Ferris wheel was never sold, and it still sits there today. And honey, that thing looks so creepy. He told us that so many movies and TV shows come out there just to use, like, shots of the Ferris wheel. And I'm like, yeah, it's perfect for anything creepy.
Really creepy.
Yeah, it really is. But okay, so fast forwarding again to the 1980s, where a man named Gaylord White came into the picture. Fun fact, he actually worked at Lake Shawnee when it was originally open, and he loved it so much back in the day, and then he obviously grew up, became a grown-up, had adult money, so he was like, let me buy this property, and let's get Lake Shawnee back up and running again. And I love that idea, honestly. Wonderful idea.
Yeah, because you just think about, like, something from your childhood. If it shuts down, you're like, oh, I want to bring it back.
Exactly.
And bring all the good memories for everybody else.
Like Galloway.
Yeah.
Rest in peace to Galloway. If we haven't even told the people. Me and Savannah actually met in our old dorm hall at UNCW, which was called Galloway. And unfortunately, earlier this year, they demolished Galloway. So
R.I.P. Galloway.
R.I.P. Galloway. Bring back Galloway, honestly.
Seriously.
But that's what this man wanted to do. He was like, let's bring back the glory days.
If we're being real, okay, side note, if we're being real, like, if Galloway was still there, I would have been a ghost there. Like, why?
Same. Well, they're going to build more things there, so we can just haunt the new place.
You're right. Okay.
Because I would love to haunt Galloway. That would be amazing. Okay, anyway, so obviously, since most of the rides had sold, he was like, okay, I have to buy more rides. He didn't have to buy a Ferris wheel, though. Big perk. I mean, that's good at least. So he went on a hunt to buy all these other rides, and he wanted to get a swing ride, like the one that was there, unfortunately, that the girl was killed on. Because obviously they're popular. And what amusement park / fair doesn't have a swing ride? None. They all do.
I mean, even after hearing this story, like, they're my favorite ride.
I have always hated the swings. Not always, but as of late. And then hearing about how many people die scares me. But anyway, so Gaylord found a swing in New Jersey and brought it back and transported it back to West Virginia. And when he got back to the park, he looked at the serial numbers to just write it out off in the logs. And guess what? It was the same swing that was at the Lake Shawnee Park originally. The OG swing, aka the OG swing that the little girl died on.
That's still so crazy. Like, it just needed to be back.
It was like, it's meant to be there. And it is not meant to leave.
Yeah.
And that's so obvious.
It just reminds me of what Chris was saying on the tour when he was just saying that, like, the park, like, does what it wants almost. It's like...
Yeah. He was like, I own it, but the park does what it wants.
Like, what was his phrase that he kept using? I don't know. He was like...
He was like, I'll let the land do whatever it wants to do.
Yeah.
Or something similar to that.
Yes.
And he was like, the land does what it wants.
Yeah, and it's like that. It's almost like it called it back. Or something.
It was like it purposefully brought it back. Which is, it gives me chills. So, now we see how much, like, coincidence, if you want to call it coincidence, or fate, more like we believe, that this swing is back. Let's tell them about our interaction at the swing, Savannah. So we do know which exact swing that little girl died on. And this swing, also, please go to Instagram. You'll see pictures. It's very creepy. It's very rusty. I don't know what I was expecting because I know it's from the 1920s.
Yeah.
But they look nothing like the swings we have today.
I know. Yeah. I mean, that has to make you feel better, right? They're safer.
It does make me feel better.
Yeah.
But they're so scary.
Yeah. No, but that swing, and there are a few other places in the park as well, that swing is like an altar almost. And people leave, they leave things for the little girl. Like, what are they called?
Offerings.
Just offerings? Yeah. So they leave her offerings. And I believe, like, her shrine has the most on it. Like, the most
definitely
people leave for her.
Definitely. But people leave the offerings. It's always toys or, like, something, little, or even money. There was money out there too.
Yeah.
They leave the offerings not only to the little girl, but also to the indigenous people of the land and other people who are murdered here that I'm going to get into soon. So it's kind of an offering to just all of the spirits on all of the land in different places. So she has her little altar, and then another one is somewhere else that I'll explain in a minute. And then there's another one for the Native Americans that I'll also get into in a minute. So, but anyway, while we were standing there on this tour, Chris is just telling us a story, obviously, of what happened to this little girl. And like we said, there's tons of offerings. And one thing that was really common there were, like, those little plastic fans that, like, spin, like spinning wheels. Pinwheels, that's what it's called. And there was not a lot of wind that day. I will say this could be explained, but it was weird. It was weird. And I have a video of it too. There is a windmill directly underneath the swing that she died on. And as he's telling her story, there's also, like, probably 10 or 15 other windmills surrounding the area. Hers, underneath her swing, was the only one that was moving as he's telling her story. So that was crazy. And no, if you're going to ask, was he pulling it on a string? We were not even standing that close to it. So no, he was not doing that. No. So, that was crazy. But do you want to tell them about our offering?
Oh, yes. We did leave an offering.
We
for
had to,
her.
obviously.
Yeah. So earlier that day, Taylor had given me a little McDonald's Happy Meal toy.
Actually, my mom
'Cause
gave it to you.
You're right. Yeah, your mom did. But right now at McDonald's they have like little Crocs.
The little
like the
Croc
shoe.
keychains.
Yeah, little keychains. And they're cute. They come with stickers, you decorate them. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's perfect. I can give that to her. So I did put a few little stickers on it.
Of course, we
and
decorated
I
it.
put it on her swing for her.
Yes. So if you see a little Croc out there on her swing, that was our Croc. And don't take it because it's not yours, it's hers. And anybody else who wants to play with it, that's a spirit on the property. Yeah, so we did that, and I love that. I'm glad that we had that Croc. Shout out to my mom for the Croc. Yeah. And also, fun fact, we did go through McDonald's and get more Crocs.
Yeah, we did. We did.
That's hilarious. So I think that this also is the perfect time to go into the paranormal investigation that we did out there.
Okay.
So it's kind of flip-flopping, but I don't want people to forget the story of the little girl because it's important to know in this moment. So basically at the end of the tour, which we are not at the end of the tour, but once we got done, Chris was like, you guys can stay however long you want. You can do whatever you want on the property. If you want to investigate, whatever you want, it's yours. Just text me when you leave and be out by like dark. And at that point in time, it was like 3:30 or 4:30. So we had plenty of time, hours, to be there. And so after everybody was gone, we decided that we were going to do the Estes method. Because luckily for me, I brought all of my ghost hunting equipment. So if you haven't heard what the Estes method is before, we've talked about it before, we've done it many times. Basically, one person, you can have however many people do it, but you have to at least have 2 people. One person will ask questions, and the other person will basically be like sensory deprived. So you close your eyes, you have noise canceling headphones on, and you are hooked into a spirit box. And essentially what a spirit box does is it transfers or whatever, scrolls through different radio stations. And the theory is that ghosts will take the energy from the box and use it to communicate. And so that they can say, it'll say words to you.
Yeah. Using
the radio being scanned. So it's kind of hard to explain, but basically you'll just hear a bunch of static, really, really loud static, and then it'll be like orange. Or, Or like, it'll be like, just let me adore you. Like sometimes, occasionally it's a song.
Shout out some words.
And then it'll be like, shh, yellow, shh. Like, that's how it goes.
There is a lot of static when you do this.
Tons of static, So that we decided to do that. So right beside the swing set, there is a picnic table. And the picnic table is fully covered in offerings and animals, like stuffed animals and toys, again, for this little girl. She has, I cannot express enough how many offerings people have left her. Hundreds upon thousands.
I mean, a lot.
Like, throughout the whole place, so many. So many. And I'm sure they've had to throw some away. You know, it's crazy. So I decided that I would be the one to be sensory deprived and listen to the spirit box, and Savannah was going to ask the questions. So I did get this spirit box last Christmas. So I've almost had it for a whole year now. We've done many sessions of the Estes method, and I personally feel like this one had the most evidence. We did record it, and I'm sure we'll make a vlog of the whole shebang, and you guys can see the whole thing on there. But we'll talk about the key points, I guess, on here. And essentially, without me knowing, a ghost was talking through me, answering questions immediately.
Kind of. I don't know. It was just giving weird answers.
Some of them, but some of them were giving real answers.
There were a few questions that she didn't want to answer. But
yeah, like you might have to elaborate because I can't really remember what all you asked.
I asked her if she liked her offering. She liked the toy that we left her. She did not answer.
Honestly, I was thinking maybe we just didn't give her enough time to play with it. Like, maybe. We did just set it down.
Yeah.
And then we're like, do you like it?
No, you're right.
That's pressure.
True. And then I did ask her what her name was, and then you just kept saying Taylor. And I'm like, I don't know if you're messing with me and saying that this is Taylor, or if your name was Taylor. So I couldn't tell.
And from my side, I don't know what she's asking at all. And I'm just hearing this machine say Taylor, Taylor, Taylor. And it said it like 4 or 5 times. And the last question that Savannah asked was, what is your favorite toy that somebody has brought you? Because we had determined that we were probably talking to the little girl, maybe. So we were like, what's your favorite toy? And that is when I responded, Taylor, pause for dramatic effect. And then it said Savannah, clear as day. I'm not talking like, maybe sounded like that.
Like the fact that she was answering our questions. It's really just the fact that she said our names. That's what's creepy about it.
No, it is definitely creepy. And I have to, I can't stress enough how many sessions we've done. It's never said my name once or yours. It's never said Taylor or Savannah.
No.
Or it's never said the name of anybody participating in the Essie's method. So that was very interesting. And I also think it's really important to note that the Essie's method I found works best when you're in a place that doesn't have a lot of cell towers.
Oh, yeah.
So when I did it in Spain, for example, we were in the middle of this nature preserve / park. So there were no towers, and it worked really super well there. Mm-hmm. And then think about Lake Shawnee. It's absolutely in the middle of nowhere, and it worked pretty well there. So,
and there were a lot of bugs in this area too. Mm-hmm. It's kind of gross, but it's definitely a lake. It's because there were so many offerings and things, and they had been sitting on that table for probably years at this point, and they're getting kind of gross and wet stuffed animals. It's going to attract bugs.
And also, the lake is there too, so that's also water.
Yeah, that too. But it seemed like they were coming at us, and there was one in specific that was a really big one that was just diving into us. I was like, she is trying to get rid of us.
Okay, see, I forgot to mention that. So before we started the Essie's method, the whole picnic table that was covered in offerings, it was covered, but there was enough room on the seat for 2 people to sit down on the table. So we were like, yeah, that's a perfect spot to do the Essie's method. Obviously, there's perfect room for me and her to sit and film. So we sit down at this table. I put the thing on. I'm already getting words. And Savannah, I can't hear what she's doing. I'm just saying the words out loud blindly. And little did I know, Savannah's out here running around being chased by the biggest bug I've ever seen in my life. I don't know what kind of bug that was. And then, as soon as Savannah walks away from the table, just farther away, the bug leaves her alone, comes directly at me, who is sitting at the table, and then it won't leave me alone until I got up and walked away, and then it left us alone, and it never bothered us again. So all I'm saying is,
it did bother us by the swing though too. It bothered me at least.
I forgot. My eyes were closed. I forgot.
It bothered. Yeah, it did.
It is in the video that you moved it away. That is crazy. So you'll have to tune in. We'll let you know when we upload the vlog so you can see the whole Essie's method, because we recorded it all. But anything else you want to add about that?
Not about our ghost hunting.
Yeah. No. It was scary. And I did ask. I was like, Savannah, do you want to turn? Because normally when we do, no. She said immediately no. Normally when we do the Essie's method, I'll listen and Savannah will ask questions, and then we'll switch and I'll ask the questions and she'll listen. She said, absolutely not. We got to go.
I was like, we got to get out of here.
We got to get out of here. So, and we did. So anyway, back to the history. Back to the 80s when they are restoring Lake Shawnee. Mr. Smith added some more rides, like a few small kiddie rides, bumper boats, a stage, and the park stayed open for another 3 years. But then insurance rates skyrocketed because this was a time where, like, I don't know if this is when OSHA was created, but this is when, like, public safety became like a thing. They're like, okay, things are dangerous. People are dying. We need to protect them. So insurance rates went through the roof, and he was forced to close Lake Shawnee once again. And it's so sad because this was his whole life dream, like to have this place open. So he didn't give up, though. He didn't give up. He tried to make it a place for fishing competitions, and they actually do still do that today. It's not much of a competition, but they do grow a lot of fish in Lake Shawnee, and they sell it to a really big distributor, and I know who it is, but I won't give it away because it's, you know, you don't need to know all their secrets. But if you know, you know. So after they lost the park yet again, and the fishing competitions didn't really work out. Like, it made a little bit of money, but not enough to keep it afloat. They were like, we have to figure out something to do with this land. So then they decided, let's throw a mud bog every Friday night where people can come and they spray water out in this field, make it really, really, really muddy, and people can come and drive really dangerously around in this mud.
Yeah.
Like, more safety
issues. It's like a very
issues.
Interesting.
It's definitely thing. Like a West Virginia thing, like going muddin'. Like if you don't know, and it's popular here too. It's the South, pretty much, and West Virginia. Like,
have I
ever gone mudding? Is crazy. Yes, of course I have.
I have never even. I have no idea.
Like, okay. Also, it's not. I'm saying mudding, but it is muddin'. Like you don't say the G, but it is mudding. Like, you're going mudding, but you're going mudding. Yeah. So, yes, I've gone mudding. I've gone stuck in the mud, in the car, while mudding. So, yeah. But it is really fun. But it is really dangerous.
What, you just are driving your car around? Like, I don't
know. No, like,
what somebody, do you drive?
Just people you don't know. It was back in high school when there was nothing better to do. But all my friends, like, had trucks, or they have four-wheelers or ATVs.
But, like, when people do this, see, like, now I'm just doing a side note because I'm like, I don't even know what this is.
Like, what
this
is
so Southern to me.
People probably don't know what it is.
Like, what's fun about it? Is, I guess, what I'm asking.
Okay, so imagine, like, have you ever done, like, a donut, like, really fast in a car?
I mean, no, but I get the idea.
So imagine that in, like, really slippery mud. Like, it would just be even more just, like,
fun. Spinning around.
And it's, like really high adrenaline because it is dangerous. Yeah. So they're, like, driving and just trying to kick up as much mud as possible.
See, what I can compare it to is, like, driving on ice.
I mean, yeah, yeah, you're right. That is how dangerous it is. But they were just going to kick up some mud, drink, have a party. And it's just really, and people, like, food trucks came. They were just, like, a way for people to get together. Right, and again, this is still in the mining town, so there was still nothing going on. So they're like, of course we're going down to the mud bog, obviously. Yeah. Okay. Until one Friday night at one specific mud bog, everything was going as usual up until they were mud bogging and a truck ran over something in the mud and they discovered something, and that something would be skeletal remains.
Oh no.
Yeah, so immediately they stop bogging. They call the police, and the police actually get Marshall University anthropology students and professors to come out and take a look. So at first they're digging with shovels because, I mean, I don't know how many mud bogs they had before the bodies were found. Yeah. But I can imagine them digging down in the mud just further and further. I mean, he told us they were about 6 feet. Yeah. So that's a lot of mud being done. So it's crazy to think, like, if the park didn't close down and they didn't have to do the mud bogs, we might not know this next piece of history. Yeah. So it's crazy. So the anthropology students are out there digging with holes. Digging holes with shovels. And as one does, you know, until one of the students hit something really hard. And so obviously they stopped using the shovel, they uncover it, and the student had actually shattered a hole through one of the skeleton's skulls with the shovel. And of course it was an accident, but I have to say, big yikes on that, fam.
Like, yeah, I can't say anything else. Like.
That's all I'm going to say. I am so sorry that happened to you, whoever you are out there. So from then on, no shovels were allowed. Only small hand tools and brushes to dig. So they decide that they're going to dig about a mile-long line down one part of the property and just see what they can find. And what they found were over 3,000 indigenous remains.
That's crazy. 3,
let me repeat that. 3,000. And that's just in about a mile of this 800-acre property.
They literally dug up a cemetery.
Yeah, fully they did. So we learned on this marvelous adventure that we went on that there were people buried in different ways. And I thought it was so interesting. So I'm going to explain it to you guys. Some of the bodies were found buried on top of each other. So we don't really have an explanation for that, of why that happened. But other bodies, some were either found in oval shaped, like very fetal position.
Yeah, like curled
graves. Up. Yeah. And others were regular rectangle graves. And they were like fully flat, out. And so people were like, well, why are some of them buried one way versus the other? And the answer is so scientific, and it's something that I would have never thought of. But we are talking about West Virginia, and in the wintertime, it is super cold in West Virginia. And when it's super cold outside, the ground is really hard. So if you're trying to bury a body in the winter, that's why most murders happen in the summer. Because if bodies are being buried, they can't bury them in the winter. And I learned that in school because I have a college degree in criminology.
Okay, wait. I didn't even know that fact.
That's true. I was thinking about it the whole time he was talking about that. Yeah, a lot of people. Yeah.
Well, we just beat that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're safe now.
Murders are going to be a little bit harder to do now if you're trying to bury the bodies.
I was going to say we're safe from the murderer, from the killer.
The killer. We are safe from the killer for sure. For now.
Yeah, for
anyway,
a few months.
It is fall. Also, we forgot to say happy fall.
Happy fall.
We missed fall. Savannah, fall happened at Mothman and we didn't even know. It was Sunday of Mothman. Which honestly, perfect fall. It was way too hot, but perfect fall events.
Yeah.
Honestly. But anyway, so the reason for the oval-shaped graves and the bodies being in fetal positions is because since the ground was so hard in the wintertime, they would obviously be burning a fire to keep warm. But when the fire went out, they would actually dig up the ground that was under the fire because the fire made the ground underneath it warmer. So the oval shape is actually from the fire because fires obviously are made in like circular/oval shapes. And in the summer, when the ground is super warm and super easy to dig, that's when they had the ability to dig the rectangle regular graves. So that's why there are two different graves out there, which I just thought was super interesting. I was like, I've never thought about that ever before in my life. So, oh goodness, I almost just threw everything off the desk. But anyway, so this was the point in time, because there were always legends, of course, that this was like an ancient Indian burial ground, as they all say.
I know. Sometimes I'm like, is that actually true?
Right.
But like here, they came out, like the university came out.
Yeah, babe, it's proven.
It's
proven.
Yeah.
Logged, proven. It is in the archives. This is seriously and legitimately an ancient Native American burial ground. And we know that there are at least 3,000 bodies, but my guess, probably 10 times more than that.
Probably more, yeah.
Oh, not probably, definitely. So, yeah. So let's get to the current owner, Chris, a.k.a. our tour guide. So he is actually the son of Gaylord Smith, who originally bought the park back in the 80s.
Amazing.
Love it. And when I signed up for the tour, guys, I did not think Chris, the owner, since the 80s, I mean, I know his dad owned it, but like he grew up there.
Still, yeah.
I didn't realize that he was going to be the one giving us the tour.
Was awesome.
Like we got first-hand stories, which is just the best kind of stories. And he does not believe the land is cursed. Like Savannah said, he just seems to think that there's just this energy on the property and that the land will do what it wants and it will let people in who it can trust, and those who it feels like it cannot trust, it will let them know that it's time for them to leave. And it's just so funny because like back in 2021 when I covered it, I would have never thought like I would be sitting here and be like, yeah, I met this man.
I know. Yeah.
And we went there. But specifically meeting the man, I was shook to my core when he told us who he was. I was like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, I remember we just looked at each other. We were like, wait, what?
We were like, because we had just listened to the episode. So I had talked about him in the episode. And he was like, yeah, that's me. And I was like, wow, this is like the Truman Show type situation. But anyway, today, the area where they used to hold the mud bogs is now a resting place and a shrine/cemetery for all of the indigenous people that are buried there. And something that Marshall University said is that they wanted to put like a headstone or something out there to symbolize, who is out there. But Chris said that just didn't feel natural to him, getting a headstone, like how we would do it today. I agree too. Because back in their day, obviously they didn't have headstones like we have today. They would actually find something from nature to mark where they buried their dead. So what Chris did is he went out into the woods of the property and found this big rock and decided like it was a cool rock, so let's bring it back and that can be the headstone. And he said he felt really drawn to it. We did in fact see the rock, and it will also be on Instagram because you will need to look at it. And he said, so from what we were seeing when we were there, he said actually the rock is about 3 feet longer than it looks, but 3 feet of it sank into the ground since he originally placed it there. And today, if you look at it from the side, it looks like a silhouette of a Native American wearing a headdress. And I can confirm it does look like that.
It does.
So much.
It really does.
Like,
it's crazy.
It's so weird. And the fact that the rock, that's not even the full rock, that it stopped basically at the neck of this. Like, it gives me chills even thinking about it now. So yeah, there's tons of offerings on that. And so this year, 2024, Chris said that this is the first time that this has ever happened. Squash started growing up from this shrine. So you see just like a bunch of toys, a bunch of little, little things, what do they call them? Little trinkets.
Oh yeah.
Or whatever.
Little trinkets.
Yeah. Just a bunch of money, just a bunch of little random items. And then there's just this giant squash plant that's like overgrowing and overtaking this area. And he did some investigating. And do you know what kind of squash this is, guys? It's called carnival squash. And I do believe that somebody purposefully put the carnival squash out there.
It could be because they're like, oh, it's carnival.
It's an amusement park, But I will say there was a squash professional in our group somehow. She was a farmer who specialized in squash, which I was like, okay, that's crazy random. And she said that carnival squash is really, really hard to get. So I was like, somebody either tried really hard to put this out here or it was fate. I don't know.
I mean, either way, it's just crazy.
It is crazy.
Took off and it's just...
It is. And so it is kind of taking over the memorial site. So Chris said he is going to, once like the plant is done, he's going to move it to the side next year. So if you go, it probably won't be overtaking it like you'll see in the pictures. But it's crazy that we got to witness that. But you also wanted to say something that happened there. Yeah,
so at this like shrine, or I don't know what we're calling it, the headstone.
Yeah, the memorial.
All of the little offerings, they're you try to like look at each one and see the meaning in all of them. And there was one in particular that I was looking at. Somebody had left their watch for the Native Americans.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was interesting. And then Chris like started talking about it actually. He was like, yeah, they considered time one of the greatest like the gifts, you know, like
Yeah.
it's the greatest
like-
thing
it's
you
like-
can have.
It's like the most monetary value isn't money, it's time.
Yeah, and that is true.
Very
Like,
true.
We need to honestly, it did remind me that like you really need to take that
Yeah.
into consideration
Like
a lot of the time
everything
because
is not about money. Like you
Yeah.
only really have a certain amount of time on this earth.
yes.
And it really reminded me of that too.
Yeah, and it really just like meant something to me that somebody went that far to be like, yeah, I'm gonna give you my time. Like, I
Yeah,
mean,
and
in realistic,
also-
it is just a symbol, obviously,
is.
but we also all gave our time being there on the
Yeah.
property too.
Yeah.
So that meant something to me.
Yeah,
but
and that's something else that Chris said. He was like, don't feel inclined to leave
Yes.
an offering, like something else, like the crock that we left, because he was like, you already are giving them everything that they want, which is your time.
Yeah.
Like coming there and
Yeah.
learning the actual history of the place. And he was like, so they take that as an offering, or at least that's what he believes. And I think so too.
yeah,
Which
I love it. Yeah.
Same. I love that so much. I love it so much. So if you want to hear more ghost stories that people have experienced, go listen to episode 17, just because I don't want to hold us out too long and I have more important things to talk about. But I do cover a lot of the hauntings and like things that people have experienced there, which are super, super creepy. So go listen to episode 17 for that. But we'll get to another story that Chris told, which really freaked me out. I won't lie. So he said one night, so basically the tours, when I signed up, there were two options for me. It said 10 a.m., 2 p.m. And that was it. And I was like, 2 p.m., I'll be there, baby.
Yeah.
And so one night, oh, it's also important to know, I don't think I mentioned this. Chris's mom lives on the property.
Yeah. It's just
And so-
crazy.
Yeah, she lives there, like permanently. Not to dox her, but she does. It's
I
public
know.
knowledge.
Honestly,
it's public
it did
knowledge.
feel like doxing, but like, yeah, it is.
It is.
Like,
I know. I found it literally on Google. So, sorry, I'm not doxing her. But she does live there. And so Chris also spends a lot of time there, obviously. And one night he was at his mom's house and a man drove down the driveway. And he said that he had just driven all the way from New Jersey and that he needed to walk around the park. And he said he didn't say anything else. He didn't give a reason. He was like, I literally have to be here right now. I'm feeling called and I need to be here. And so Chris was like, I mean, we're closed, but okay. Because honestly, Chris is so nice. I can't lie. He's the nicest guy.
Is.
Like, he's
Oh
a
my
sweetie
gosh.
pie. So he was like, okay, yeah, man.
Remind me to. I have something to say after you. Say
Okay,
your-
okay, I will. But yeah, the sweetie pie that Chris is, he was like, okay, let's go. I'll walk you through the property. So they wanted to, the man wanted to go see the swings and the Ferris wheel first. And he did. And he said, he just walked around the Ferris wheel and the swing. And then he walked around the property all the way where we walked around. And then ended up at the blue ticket booth, which was one of the main ticket booths back in the day. And Chris watched this as this happened, okay? He said the man opened the door to the ticket booth, stepped 1 foot into the ticket booth, and then this man was thrown back, like backwards, several feet onto his butt, like literally thrown backwards. And like as if something was not only throwing him, but did not want him to step foot into that ticket booth. And Chris said that he watched that man get up, run to his car, drive away, and never to be seen again. The man did not contact Chris. The man did not come back.
Crazy story.
And I'm like, what? And Chris said he saw it with his own eyes. He said there was no way he could have done that himself.
Yeah.
And I'm
I
like,
believe
that?
him.
Me too. I'm like, that's crazy. I got into the ticket booth. Nothing happened. Yet. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
I'm on knock on wood. I didn't go in the blue one, though. I went in the yellow one. I was a little too scared to go in the blue one. I did not want to be yeeted back. But
right. No, but I was going to say so the fact that he was from New Jersey, or a gym from New Jersey, and the swings were bought from Jersey. So I'm like, is there a connection there?
Maybe, because he did want to go see the swings first. That's very interesting.
I don't know.
Ew, I don't like that. I don't like that. The reason why I don't like that is because the spirits knew immediately that he needed to leave. Like, he wasn't there long. Chris said he was there maybe 20, 30 minutes max. We were there for like 4 hours.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. That's crazy. So, anyway, finishing up our tour here. We did write our podcast name in chalk on the wall with all the other chalk that's up there. So, take a picture of it if you see it. But to get to one last thing, well, not really, because I have a lot more, but one last thing that happened to us was we were like, okay, time to go. Let's go check into what we didn't know at the time was the Roach Hotel.
Yes. Yeah, I know. We did our e-check-in.
Yeah, let's keep this in mind that all of this happened before we have to drive 2.5 more hours, and then we get to the Roach Motel. And all we wanted to do was lay down, but could we? No, unless we wanted to lay with the roaches.
Yeah.
But, it all worked out in the end, so that's all that matters.
Oh, just dropped something. Sorry, guys.
Savannah. At least it wasn't Parm. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Our little assistant. So anyway, last thing. At the entrance of this park, there is a giant clown painting. Giant. And its mouth is tall enough for you to stand underneath it. So it's like a very photo op place to be. Yeah. And so obviously, since it's a photo op place, me and Savannah were like, let's get a picture before we leave. Mm-hmm. So we were the last people of our tour group to leave the park. And so we knew nobody was behind us, so I just parked right beside the clown painting. And we took our pictures, and we were like, okay, let's get out of here. But what's important to note is that Chris told us that there is also the ghost of a little boy. And he doesn't know exactly who it could be. He thinks... See, one thing I didn't mention also is that there were a bunch of drownings that happened at Lake Shawnee, which is another reason that they had to shut down. And one of them was this very young little boy. And it was said that he was drugged down to the bottom of the lake. And actually, it was proven last year that this is true, that his arm was caught in the drain pipe, which maybe doesn't sound that crazy, right? Like, oh, he drowned because he was caught in a drain pipe. But what's crazy is the drain pipe was 150 feet down at the bottom of the lake. So how did he get down there? Crazy. Anyway, I will not be swimming in that lake anytime soon. No. But it's said that it's possible that little boy actually haunts this little clown painting because he likes to, that's the entrance of it, and so he likes to greet the guest, which I think is adorable. So there's a bunch of offerings there for him too, a bunch of little toys for him to play with. And so yeah, we just take our pictures and then we get in my car. And we're sitting on our phones. I'm trying to pull up the maps, set up the music. I turned some music on, and we're sitting there preparing to go, but we're not moving yet. The car is still in park. And I'm playing a 21 Pilot song, and we're getting ourselves together, when all of a sudden, the 21 Pilot song stops, and then it's just static. Just like the SC's method.
It was really creepy.
And now I know this wasn't Stacy. I know this wasn't my normal car, but that had never happened to me before. Mm-hmm. And I had driven it for like a week before that. And I was like, okay, that's weird. So I fix it. I turn my music back on. I'm still sitting there because I still have to, do some things and answer some texts and things before I drive 2.5 hours. And 21 Pilots is playing again. And yet again, it switches from the Apple CarPlay to the radio static, which was again sounding just like the Estes method.
It was so
weird. You might just be like, Taylor, the CarPlay was disconnecting. No, because guess what? You could still see my map on the screen.
Yeah.
You could still see my text messages coming through on the screen. The music was even still on the screen. It was just paused and it turned to the radio. So can I explain that? No, but we took that as our sign that it was our time to leave.
Yeah.
And we surely did.
Yeah.
We surely did.
We did.
Yep. So that was the end of our personal story, but I got a little bit more. So today, Chris White, as well as Roger, shout out Roger, and many other volunteers keep this property nice and upkept and do the tours. And Chris says that he will do this as long as the land wants the visitors. He will have them, which is a really nice way to look at it. And it's obviously clearly very sacred land. And so I think it needs to be protected forever.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So like I said, you can take tours. It's $40 a person and it's worth every single penny of that. And after the tour, like I said, you can stay however long you like, do your own investigations. And for even more money, we learned you can stay the night. So maybe that's next on the list, guys.
Oh my gosh, I don't know. Thinking about camping there is wild.
Yeah, that's really scary. My mom was like, Taylor, you're real brave if you do that. And I was like, watch me. Watch me.
I don't know.
I want the proof. I want the evidence. The proof is in the pudding. The proof is in Lake Shawnee Amusement Park. But anyway, every October, they hold something called Dark Carnival Lake Nightmare, which is a haunted house. We did see it being built. It wasn't fully built yet. And he did tell us how some of the things that you have to do to escape that. And honey, ain't no way I would go. No. I'm not going to spoil it for those who wants to go and do that. But no, I would not do it. I would be caught in that thing.
I'm not about haunted houses.
I like haunted houses, honestly, but I don't want to be in ones like that. Like where you have, like it's like escape room haunted houses.
Oh,
I'd rather just like have a maze. Well, that's kind of the same thing, but it just seems scary and I'm not doing that. So, anyway, I'll end with this, and it's actually the same exact way that I ended the story back in episode 17, but I think it's important. So, like I mentioned, Chris's mom still lives on the property today, and earlier, back like, closer to when, they bought the property, she was always wondering if her and her family had made the right decision to do the tours and things, because she was like, are we upsetting the ghost? Valid question.
Yeah.
So apparently a guest got a photograph of what looks to be a person sitting inside of the bus, and they sent it to her. They showed it to Chris's mom, and she just immediately starts crying because it looks, the person, quote unquote person in the picture, looked exactly like her son, and it was a photograph taken in the bus that he used to drive, and at the time he was not alive. And so it is said that Chris's brother actually haunts Lake Shawnee too, and that you can see him around. And now I will say, I did take my professional camera out there and did get some pictures of the bus, and we investigated them. Didn't find any ghost, unfortunately, in the pictures. But we did see that picture of the alleged Chris's brother's ghost in the bus, and it looked a lot like him.
Yeah, it did.
It really did. They had a side by side of what he looked like in the ghost picture, and honestly, I believe it.
And I know, because also a lot of the tour was focusing on the history, and then he brought up some of the paranormal, like some of the ghost stuff,
and it's like his family.
Yes, and like it's more believable that way, the way that he was like mostly just focusing on the history, but he's like, guys, like I can tell you about this if you want to.
Yeah, and that's what made our tour so long. He was like, normally I just focus on the history, but if I vibe with the tour group, we can have a 3-hour tour. And I thought he was kidding, honey. He wasn't.
Yeah,
and
I thought he was kidding too.
Yeah, he did vibe with our tour group, and we did have a 3-hour tour.
Yeah.
So that was in fact great. So
I just remembered about the thing that you witnessed with the swing and one of the people in our tour group.
Oh, yeah.
Did you mention? You didn't
I did not mention that. Okay, let me finish this and then remind me. Okay. So, back to Chris's mom. So, when she found the photo that was of her son driving the bus, even though he had already passed, she was like, okay, that maybe is a sign that we need to keep doing this. And obviously that I need to stay here because his spirit's still here. But then her husband, one of the things that he always did when he was alive was to make sure to always lock the Ferris wheel doors, like latch the, what's it called? The handlebar, the railing, whatever it's called. You know, the little bar, the lap bar is what it's called. He would always latch every single lap bar, and sometimes he would even double and triple check that he had always latched all of them, because he always wanted to make sure that they were latched, because one evening the security cameras on the property caught the Ferris wheel safety bar unfastening itself and like opening while nobody else was around. And they have timestamps, essentially a log of what time people enter and exit the park, so that they know that, you know, no stragglers are on the grounds. Mm-hmm. So nobody was at the ground at the time. And we actually saw the video and it opened. And so Chris's mom actually believes that that was the ghost of her husband. And so she does, in fact, believe that they made the right decision to keep doing this. And that's why they still do it today. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so let me see. How did I lose my spot so close? Okay, so yeah, what I was going to say, all the pictures and videos that we saw, obviously they can be edited, but all I have to say is, if even one thing that I was shown on this tour was not edited, that's enough for me to believe that something not normal is going on here.
Yeah.
Like, we just talked for over an hour and a half about what was going on here, and I could have talked for a whole nother hour and a half, because there's that much more.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. It is. So I guess I will end by telling this story. So with us on the tour, it was me and Savannah, Chris, who was the tour guide. There was this younger couple, a girl and a boy, and then a mom and her son, and then an older couple, and I think that was it.
Yeah.
Yep, that was it.
Yep.
So there was 9 of us. And the mom and the son was essentially, at least for what I could tell, like nonverbal, but so just enjoying the tour. As I said, we were there for 3 hours, and so we walk up to the swings, right? We don't know anything about the swings because Chris hasn't told us yet. We see the swings, and we're not even that close to them. And so we stop a couple 100 feet in front of the swings for Chris to start telling us the history of the swings. But the son, this nonverbal son, immediately walks up to the swings and walks up to one specific swing, starts touching it, and starts talking to it. And I am witnessing this with my own eyes, as well as one of the boyfriends, like the younger boyfriend. And me and him just look at each other and we're like, do you see that? And Chris was like, do y'all see that? And we were like, mm-hmm.
And I didn't even know what you guys were talking about, because I think I was looking at something else. I didn't notice.
Yeah. Because there was a lot of stuff going on.
I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. No. So this boy is going up there, going to the swing, grabbing it and talking to it. And then he just walks away and comes back to the group. And Chris was like, I'm going to need you guys to remember that for later, because I know that wasn't just me that saw that. And then we were like, yes, sir. So he proceeds to tell us the story of the little girl. And then he shows us which swing was the one that she died on. And that swing was the one that little boy went up to and grabbed. So how would he know? I don't know. I don't know. It gives me chills to think about, because I was like, that's so crazy. Like, out of what? Probably 30, 40 swings.
Yeah.
He picks the one that the girl was killed on immediately and starts talking to it. Crazy. All I gotta say is that is crazy. So yeah, Lake Shawnee amusement park blew my mind. Honestly, probably one of the best ghost paranormal experiences I've had.
Mm-hmm.
so many things, so many unexplainable things. And I cannot wait to go back. And I am camping there. I'm putting it into the universe. I am.
I mean, I guess.
And I'm dragging Savannah with me.
I don't know. I'm scared.
But we're not going alone. We're not going alone. We're going to take a group. So we'll be more safe. It can't just be us two girlies out there with the ghosties.
No, you're right.
Too scary for that. But most definitely go check out our Instagram to see pictures. We have so many. Gosh, we could probably post like 4 posts.
I know. I know. We'll have to pick and choose which ones to post.
Definitely the Ferris wheel. Definitely the swing.
So I did want to mention before we end that there was one other thing we did this weekend.
Yeah.
But I can't go into too much detail. I just don't want this episode to go on for forever.
Like, we have so much. Mention it.
But we did get to go inside of a coal mine.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty cool.
We did.
So we were trying to find something haunted to do on our way home, and we ended up finding this Beckley, in Beckley, West Virginia. It was called the
it's the Beckley Exhibition
Coal Mine.
Coal mine.
I was like, what is the word? Exhibition coal mine.
Yeah.
And yeah, we literally went into a real coal mine, and we learned all about like mining over the decades, which was really cool because we do have a lot of stories that have to do with mines.
Yeah. Like something you just told one.
Yes, even our last episode with the knockers.
Yeah, the Tommy knockers.
Which is crazy because putting it into that context is even more wild because they're like literally we learned that most miners had to literally crawl
miles.
Miles, and they're crawling because the space that they had was only like a few feet, and I'm just like, that is insane. I mean, when we went in there, they obviously had like built it up.
So our tour guide had said that when the mine originally opened, the space was 3.5 by 3.5 feet. Yeah. And so that's what the miners had to crawl through for 8 miles to mine the coal.
I'm thinking, like, how did they mine it and then put it into their little cart?
They
like,
didn't have the cart. I'm sure they had a bucket at first or something of the such.
Oh, my God.
And then when we went into the mine, he said they had made it bigger and it was 21 feet by 21 feet.
Yes. So they did.
So it is bigger now.
Because they wanted to do tours.
However, it's still so claustrophobic in there.
It is. Yeah, well.
I mean, like, you can touch every wall and the ceiling. Yes. Easily. And it's wet. Guys, I had never been in a mine. All of my family are coal miners. Both my grandpas, my uncles, and I had no idea, and I have so much more respect for them now.
You're not falling into the family business?
Oh, girl, I would rather do you can quote me on this, any other job than a coal miner.
No,
No. I don't care how much they get paid. They don't get paid enough.
No.
Literally. And no. Oh my gosh, no. That was like the worst working conditions. And also one thing that they said was that coal miners, basically, they got paid $2 a day, but only if they made their like 7-ton quota. They had to fill 7 tons of coal a day to get $2. And if they didn't, the price would be lowered. And so what they started to do was the miners would bring their children to help mine so that they could meet their quota. So also just little children down there. So it was just insane. We learned so much. And
we also did learn that this mine in particular was the set of a music video or a couple music videos. Yeah, a couple. There was a country music video. Was it like Brad Paisley?
It was Brad Paisley, yeah.
Brad Paisley music video was shot down there.
Yep.
And there was a Mothman movie.
A Mothman movie. I can't remember what it was called. I have it written down, but somewhere.
So but that was pretty cool. Because I guess, cool. I mean, I'm guessing there's not too many mines that will let you do something like that. Because that one's probably safe enough for something like that. So it was cool getting to see it. And we were so far down underground, which, I mean,
it's so scary.
It makes sense because it was a gigantic
feet, bro.
It was a huge hill.
He said so, like, 1,500 feet. I couldn't even comprehend that.
I mean, I could because thinking about it, we're inside of a hill.
No, but I don't want to think about that because like it could just collapse. Also,
But
I
it
have to
didn't. It
mention it. Yeah, you're right. It didn't. But like the miners, imagine mining.
I know.
Like you're
I know.
hitting the rock. Oh
I know.
no.
I know.
But I have to mention that it was 89 degrees when we stepped a foot on the property, and in the mine it was 55 degrees, which
That was
was
pretty cool,
insanity.
actually.
So we
Yeah.
weren't inside the earth, literally.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was a grand old time we had, needless
And
to
now
say.
Taylor has a list of questions to go ask her family of
I do.
miners.
I have so many. I decided that I'm not going to do that over the phone. I'm going to wait till I go see them
Okay. Yeah.
because
Good
that's
idea.
just going to be too much. And I'll see them soon for the
Yeah.
holidays anyway.
Mhm.
So I will have maybe some more mine information.
Yeah.
But the fact that they saw, listen, if I saw a Tommyknocker down there in that mine, oh no, that's horrifying. I don't even care if he's nice. Don't care.
Yeah.
Don't care.
Also, I'm really thinking of the logistics of it. Like, they literally were going, like, what, one by one down this mine in a line
I guess.
and mining? Like,
I guess.
don't even know.
I don't know. Look, me neither, man.
Like, who was at the beginning?
Somebody fast.
Yeah.
I would imagine it goes like fastest crawler to slowest crawler.
I
you know.
guess, yeah.
That's the only way I can imagine. Crazy. But yeah, so that was our big weekend.
Yeah,
Big.
we did a lot.
Capital B-I-G. I'm still exhausted from it, actually. But I would do it again in a heartbeat. It was so great.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyway, if you don't mind, go rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and follow our YouTube and our TikTok. We will have a vlog coming soon in theaters near you. Just kidding.
Maybe someday.
Maybe someday. But yeah, that is, I'm going to say that's all I have this week, but honey, that was a lot.
Yeah,
That was
I know.
all of my haul.
I mean, honestly, I have more, but we're not going to go there. So.
You know, maybe next week
Yeah.
we can continue. Okay, well, I guess we will see you guys next week.
All right, cue the music.